Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. My name is Adam. I'm here with the Use.
What's up, guys?
Smash that subscribe button so we can be a little bit happy after a tough, Use. What a tough loss to Athletic Club Bilbao today in the Copa del Rey round of 16. 3-2, losing away. Ansu Fati gets hurt in extra time. Pedros gets hurt in extra time. Just so many things about that game went wrong. The Athletic Bilbao team really took it to us the whole time. We got exposed again for playing a lot of players over the age of 30 and, players who've also been in those big losses that we always talk about, Roma, Liverpool, Anfield, etc. And it just felt like a lot of the same old Barca crushing and crumbling in a big game against a team that's pressing hard against our backline and hitting us on the counter.
We're too slow, Adam. We're too slow. We're too old in that back line. We got Alba. We got Busquets. We got Dani Alves now at 38 years old. I still don't understand. And I know you made this point in how Dest is not getting playtime, but how is Dani Alves playing all these games? I thought he was coming in to help us, to lead us a little bit better, to boost our, coming off the bench sometimes, but he's literally starting every game. All. Yeah.
That's what's so frustrating is like they used to get so mad at Messi and under the Valverde era saying like he was controlling the team, making Sergio Roberto, Busquets, PK, Suarez start every game. And then, you see Xavi come in and it's like the same thing's happening, which is so frustrating because we're, 4 years after that original rumor against Messi. And back then, PK was getting old. Busquets was getting old. And Jordi Alba was having some awful stinkers in big games. And like, it's just, I don't want to go on it too much because of how much we've talked about it over the last 4 years. I think we did the podcast for like 3 years, and I bet if you went over like every other episode, you would hear a similar complaint.
You'll find it for sure.
So let's just talk about who the team was today and whether or not we were able to improve it all under Xavi. If you're still seeing that trend of improvement we'd seen early on, and after of course the Real Madrid game, after this Bilbao game, I think people are getting a little bit frustrated, right?
Sure. Yeah, like when we constantly have to talk about us not being able to adjust during the games is the difficult part because we expect, and we've been saying, Xavi's had some incremental improvements, but then we come in, and I think, we were able to score 2 goals today. We were able to score 2 goals against Real Madrid, which is kind of an improvement from what we were having before. But now we're still facing the same problems, which is getting countered all the time. Our team is too slow. And then set pieces. Set pieces have been killing us. And they had how many corners this game? I didn't see, but in an astronomical amount of corners, and we're giving them up too. It's not just coincidental. We are just too slow, not able to get the ball off of the players. Certain players did a good job, but I think Xavi is not making the appropriate changes to prevent these counters, to prevent these set pieces from taking our team and destroying it from the inside out, essentially. And
and I think what was definitely hyped for the last week. I felt like I saw it. I mean, we'd been talking about it. I saw it all over Twitter. Is like, okay, well, we have Pedro back, and Gavi's doing really well. Like, we should start someone else with them besides Busquets. And it just still hasn't happened, right? We thought maybe it could be Nico, maybe it could Frankie de Jong, and we didn't get that change at all. And again, we got exposed. Sure. I think Bilbao, but they played well, right? That's the one part that I can't be too upset about is like their ability to press throughout that whole game was incredible. And you saw in the first goal, Munain scored that Dani Alves that Jordi Alba couldn't catch up as they made that run, the younger Williams brother, and then Dani Alves was nowhere to be found to cover his man. It was a really good shot, but they tore through us, right, so easily. And I think that's what's so frustrating is that we keep seeing it.
Well, can we blame the players here if we know they're too slow and we know that they can't keep up with a high-paced team like this? We've always talked about Iñaki Williams being so fast, and now we also have to go against...
also very fast.
Exactly. And so are we going to blame those slow players for being slow? And it's like, well, if we know that, Xavi should know that. So why is he not making those changes? Well, I think you can blame
Xavi, right? Because you could be playing Dest in games so that, of course, when you come against a physical Bilbao team at San Mamés, you have Dest to put in, right? You could be having Balde get some time so Jordi Alba, maybe if he's not playing as much, he's fresher. Maybe you sub out Busquets a few times to get, him on fresh legs. I mean, that's part of the problem here is that it's not only do we have old players who are crumbling against better teams, but they're also playing every week. And at this age, it's not it's not feasible to do that. And so I think we really need to see some more rotations amongst that back line, and eventually we need to phase out all of these older players. And, Eric Garcia, if he's healthy, he could have helped. Mingueza, I feel like could have a role in this back line, but for some reason he's not been favored by Xavi, but he's also been very, very bad this season.
I'm kind of confused because I know that he would, or I just think most of these coaches utilize these older players just because they're just integral into the team. Yeah, and experience. And so I think we don't play the young players in the other games either, though, like Baldi and Mingueza as much. So it's like, okay, well, in these big games, you're going to utilize those players anyway. Why are they not getting the appropriate rest if you're going to have to play them 90 minutes every week or more than 90 minutes, depending if we have Copa del Rey, Europa League coming up soon, and then obviously La Liga. But it's really tough to watch the coach do that constantly. And we don't want to not criticize Xavi for these decisions because we would have criticized every other coach we've had previously. So we're not trying to go too soft on him because we need to see some better play. We can't just see the same integral problems and not have any new solutions to them. The subs he made didn't change the game. We got countered regardless. We got screwed on set pieces regardless. Now, there are just, I talked about this with Adam off the camera here, but I think there are some silver linings, and I want to specify that the silver linings are not necessarily with the whole team, but with some, bright young stars. Pedri coming back, wonderful performance and wonderful goal, and then on top of that,
big
Araujo,
goal, right? I mean, we've been pretty negative, but how sick was that? I mean, I of course, in hindsight, it's 2020, and extra time was actually our undoing because of Pedri's injury, Fati's injury, and us losing the game. But it was so fun to see Pedri score. Dani Alves had a bicycle kick. That was the assist to the goal. I mean, it was madness.
Not the best bicycle kick, though. That wasn't intentional, but yeah, I mean, you see those kinds of moments, and you're like, God, this player is so good, and I just can't wait until we're able to get the whole team on this type of level, right? Because we see the brightness in Fati when he comes on. Unfortunately, like you said, he seems to picked up another injury. But, Araujo is just that stud in the back line who's always able to keep the pace against these fast offensive attackers, and he can snub the ball off of them.
Granted, he looks a lot quicker when he's playing with just like a senior home of other backliners. Sure. But yeah, he does a wonderful job, and I think throughout this whole season, I'm getting that dreadful feeling like I had with Dembele. We won't talk about it too much, but he seems clearly not going to sign. But Araujo's getting a lot of interest from Liverpool. I heard Manchester United, like a whole bunch of teams are interested in buying him, and as much as I'd love to see him do well, and I hope he's here forever, I have kind of PTSD because at one point Umtiti was like Araujo, where I was like, oh, Umtiti's like so sick. He's a leader. He's going to be like a Barca captain one day. He's going to be here for 10 years, and that kind of didn't turn out well. I think Ter Stegen is someone else on the team who we have to shout out. He made a few big saves, and I think especially important to me is he's done a better job of passing and distributing the ball and connecting with our midfield. There was one time early where he kicked it like almost straight to the opposition team, but for the most part, I've been very happy with how he's been passing out of the back because like I mentioned at the beginning, the teams always do the same strategy against Barca to exploit us. They go against our weakness, which is pressing our back line and then trying to hit us on the counter and then, kind of flood the passing room. So we, our players just pass backwards and they turn it over. And I just felt like, and then I was just happy with the way Stegen was able to pass the ball because that's really critical when teams play in that style that you need to get over their front press. And so I was pretty happy there. I think what I want to ask you about, Yus, was the part of the game I just didn't understand, which is our front three, right? I mean, for Ferran Torres had a wonderful goal, but besides that goal, wasn't too involved. Jutgla definitely was not involved, and Abde wasn't involved and got subbed out kind of early. But how do you rate their performance, and what do you want to see from them if they're more consistently our front three with Dembele on the stands?
Well, to be honest, I didn't notice them during the game. Like, when we had talked about this after the game, I was kind of like, who? Because I didn't see them do anything in that game, and they were not creating. They were not the ones who I thought I noticed on the ball, because the whole time I was watching our defense struggle. It was our offense that was creating anything, and like, to give them a rating, Ferran Torres out of the three did the best, I would say, and like, I don't know, maybe like a 5.
Well, of course, he had the goal.
Yeah. But other than that, I didn't even see them provide too much on the defensive side if they were not going to be in attacking. It's a surprise that Abdi did not seem to shine a little bit more in a fast-paced game, because I thought maybe we just didn't have enough possession, right? We couldn't get out of our own half that whole time. But your question is, what do I...
On my end, I got to say, so Xavi had mentioned this, which is that he didn't think our team understood positional play. That was one of the first things he said after like our first or second training with him, and I still feel like that's the main issue. We don't have a lot of people making runs and trying to occupy open space to either draw defenders away from like a teammate or to get themselves in a good position to score. I feel like that's like a critical part, right, of Pep's Barca and why we were so good, why we were so good for so long. And I just feel like that's still lost amongst our midfield and amongst our front three. And we're going to have to figure out how to kind of, learn more about Xavi's style and what he wants to see offensively. And I think that's what is a little bit concerning to me, is that I feel like in this new year, I haven't seen that grasp of positional play increase amongst our team. It started a lot when Xavi first came on, but the last few games, I mean, you look at it this year, right, this calendar year, we beat Mallorca 1-0. We barely beat Linares Deportivo, I think a third division team, 2-1 in the Copa. We drew Granada 1-1. We lost to Real Madrid in the Clásico, and we just lost to Athletic Bilbao in the Copa del Rey. If things were improving at the same rate we had seen early on when Xavi took over, like that first game or two, I would be okay with those results, because at least we're seeing the team get better. But I feel like a lot of times after games, we are usually praising the players for having a good performance, not necessarily the team getting better as a whole. And that hasn't always been the case. I just feel like in the last week or two, I've stopped seeing the progression we had seen earlier in Xavi's first few weeks.
So, I mean, in this case, I would definitely say we have to say that the coach needs to improve in his tactical and mindset. And also, if he is telling the players and the players are picking up what he's trying to tell them he wants Barca to be, then that has to go to the execution from the players. And, a lot of times many times we've said, the players just stand and wait there sometimes, especially receiving a pass. It doesn't seem like they are making the defense move with them. It's just like, I'm going to receive this pass right here, so the defender knows exactly where it's going. Half the time they can anticipate that and take the ball, and then we have to get countered right there. So then it goes to, I think we can blame both the players being lazy and not implementing what they need to in these very important games, especially. Every game is important right now, to be honest. And then we can blame Xavi for not being able to do what he said in essence, which is make a meritocracy and not just play some of these favorite players that, Busquets, Dani Alves, Alba, that should not be on the pitch every game because they're not performing in a high merit level. Yeah. So, I think that we're both frustrated after this game. So, I don't even know where we're supposed to go from here, to be honest. It seems like we're going to have a struggle.
We're going to Alaves. We're going away to Alaves on Sunday at 12
away
o'clock.
Again.
I really, if you have one thing that you want to see in that game, what do you think yours is? Because I got one.
I honestly just don't want to look like we can get cherry picked all the time. That's
wow. That's
ahead.
A bigger one, man. I think mine is I just don't want to see Busquets start. That's like a much more simple thing on my end. Is like I just want to see a rotation and for us to try something else and see how it goes. And I want to see Des start too. Those are like my two things I want to see happen. But we'll see, and we will be back on Sunday. I think that's all I got. Besides, hit that subscribe button. You got anything else?
No, smash that subscribe button, like this video, and share with your friends because we're going to be back, like Adam said, on Sunday after the game. Yep. Stay tuned, folks, and have a good rest of your week. Thanks, guys.